the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you back into NCAA Division II baseball coverage on the ECC Network. In Game 2 of today's East Coast Conference doubleheader, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Queens College Knights. Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, my name is Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, in Game 1, we were treated to a thriller. Game 1, of course, 9 innings, top 9. The Dolphins went into the half inning leading by 5, 11-6. The final score of that game, Dolphins 11, Queens 10, as CSI hangs on to win their second conference game of the year.
Yeah, good luck trying to top that game, Joe. A very, very tough act to follow for these two teams here today after a thrilling conclusion to the first game of this doubleheader. But 7 more innings of baseball left in this game between these two teams, and with the Dolphins getting their second conference win of the season, it dropped Queens to 1-1. So CSI looking for their third conference win of the season. Queens looking for win number 2.
Queens 1-1 against the ECC. The Dolphins 2-4. As we are set to get underway from the CSI Baseball Complex, Alex Martinez, the starting pitcher for the Dolphins, delivers a first pitch strike, and we are underway. Robert Jacobson leading off for Queens. We'll get you the full lineups in just a minute. We'll go through it very quickly following this next pitch. And the 0-1 is swung on and missed, 0-2 on Jacobson. The rest of the lineup, Seeley, O'Connor, Phillip, Velarde, Pasqua, Jackson, Thomas, Piazza, and on the mound will be Severino Napolitano Jr. Interesting that they have Severino's first name in the box score on Sidearm Live stats.
Right, not the last name, but you saw that too, Joe.
I did.
Ryan Fiore, who we saw pitch in the last game, almost made an attempt in foul territory, retrieving the foul balls with his hat.
Very enthusiastic foul ball run right there.
Would love to have seen him make the catch right there. I'm sure he would have loved to have seen it as well. But he did retrieve the foul ball at least.
It's an 0-2 count on Jacobson to begin the game, and he takes up and away 1-2. Jacobson in Game 1 was 0 for 3. Did reach on a walk. Also scored a run. Comes the 1-2. And that's hit well toward the right field corner. Foul ball.
Just missed it by a few inches right there. Jacobson looking for extra bases and just missed it.
That did not miss by much.
I mentioned a tough act for these two teams to follow, considering what they did in Game 1, a combined 21 runs on a combined 26 hits between the two teams.
Taking some time to get play back underway here. Count still 1-2 on Jacobson. Knights reshuffled their lineup a bit ahead of this game. Made some changes as well.
Heads up.
That didn't miss the windows to our left by much.
You mentioned that Jacobson was batting third in game number 1. As you mentioned, he went 0 for 3 in that game.
Still a 2-strike count here, 1-2. And that's it on the ground to first. Handled cleanly by Vigliotti, who steps on the bag. And there's one out in the inning.
A very lengthy at bat, but a good job by Martinez. He wins the battle. And that ground ball to first and retires the first batter of this game.
That will bring Penn Seeley to the plate. Seeley hit 5th in Game 1. He was 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored.
Same time, Joe, I'm also looking at the box score at softball. Tie game they've got going now, going into the bottom of the 5th.
That is a big game for the Dolphins, as that's hit well deep to left center, up into the wind, and reaching up to make the catch in left field was Waterman.
Nice job by Waterman on that one, Joe. He had to try to see how much room he had between himself and that fence out and left, and he just had enough room to make the catch and retire the second out of the inning.
And Nick, Seeley absolutely crushed that ball, but right up into the wind, which is blowing in from left field, and that just goes to show how impressive Palomini's home run was to that area of the ballpark in Game 1.
And he had 2 that way, remember?
He did. Hard enough to do it once.
Yeah. That'll bring up O'Connor.
O'Connor pops it up, foul ground, and out of play into the Dolphins bullpen.
O'Connor was the leadoff hitter in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Went 2 for 6. That had that RBI hit in the 9th.
Taken a bit of time to get playback going after a couple of foul balls here in this half inning. It's 0-1. That's fouled back. 0-2. Martinez comes set. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Check swing high. 1-2.
Yeah, trying to get him to chase on that high fastball. O'Connor with great discipline right there. Holds up. Makes the count 1-2.
Comes the 1-2. Down and away. Martinez comes set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just off the inside corner. And it looked like the umpire was flinching there, Nick.
Yeah, and the Dolphins were making their way back to the dugout, and they did not get that strike 3 call. Now, after having an 0-2 count, O'Connor has now worked the count full.
Good at bat here from the Knights' number 3 hitter. 3-2. Foul tipped. Just got a piece.
Another lengthy at bat in this first inning from Martinez.
Quite the battle here between Martinez and O'Connor. Another 3-2 coming. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The tag is applied by Brito, and the putout is complete. The Knights eventually go down 1-2-3 in the first. They didn't make it easy, but we are through the first half inning from the CSI Baseball Complex with no score.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Well, Nick, we opened the home first inning with a big fail over the public address system.
The center fielder, number 14, Chris Palomini.
There we go.
I don't understand how you can be unaware that the system didn't turn on.
You got to look for that big red light.
So for those who don't know, we had this the other day as well. We have a public address system here that is a bit finicky from time to time. The microphone.
I see what you did there.
You got me. But you have to press a button that very often does not properly compress, and then the system doesn't turn on. So Joe announced the batter. Unfortunately, only we could hear him. And it is a batter who is well worth the announcement. Chris Palomini in Game 1.
He's edged himself into the record book.
Earned a place in the record books.
He's already been there, but now earns an even more prestigious honor, in my opinion, with 3 home runs in a single game. Tied for the most in a single game in Dolphin history.
Tied with Jason Anarumo and Tom Wolfett for the single game home run record for a Dolphin.
And as we mentioned, also broke his previous season home run tally from last year.
And he hit 2 of those straight into the wind in left center field.
The right field one, I think you and I are still wondering how that went over.
He gets that one because the 2 that he hit into the wind were impressive enough. But the one to right field was definitely a wind-assisted home run. Looked like a routine fly ball. He's ahead 3-1 here and grounds one toward the left side, handled cleanly at third. Throw off target, and
Safe.
Palomini is safe. Well, that will go down as an error on the throw. They had all day. Oh, my goodness. They gave that a hit.
Who gave that a hit? Who gave that a hit?
Lou. That is not a hit, Lou.
Yeah, that's an error.
That one you can't give a hit.
The right fielder, number 38, Jack Keogh.
That was a routine ground ball. You cannot give that a
Yeah,
hit.
the first baseman had to come off the bag and everything. That has to be. Keogh showing bunt.
Bunt by Kehoe goes to third. Throw a bit high, but they reel it in, and Palomini moves up to second on the sacrifice.
Nice piece of job. Good job by the Dolphins right there, Joe. Again, the sacrifice moving Palomini into scoring position and giving A.J. Vigliotti an early RBI opportunity.
Number 22, A.J. Vigliotti.
So Vigliotti comes to the plate with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. We mentioned Alex Martinez, the starting pitcher for the Dolphins. Severino Napolitano Jr., the starter for Queens. And Napolitano Jr. in a bit of trouble here. First inning, runner in scoring position, and it's a speedy runner. He's behind Vigliotti 1-0.
This is Napolitano's second start of the season as well. His 7th appearance. He's 1-2 in the year with a 6.63 ERA.
Palomini dancing off second ahead of the 1-0, and that's in for a strike.
Yankees just hit their 9th home run of the game, Joe.
Their single game record is 10.
Yeah.
We were checking that out.
Well, they broke their franchise record for most homers in a game.
Oh, the MLB single game record.
The MLB record is 10. Yep.
You and I were combing through record books.
We've seen a lot of records and have been hearing a lot of records today.
Yeah, we were going through the record books during the gap between games.
I did find 2 hitters that had 4 extra base hits with, going back to Palomini's 4 that he had in game 1.
One of those games I covered.
Yes.
That was Frank Muzio in 2018 in the CUNYAC playoffs against Finlandia. And how crazy was it when you told me about that game?
You remembered it word for word.
I remembered what the Dolphins were trailing by,
Yep.
6-0, and I said they won by a lot. I think I said 10. They had won by 8.
Yep.
As Vigliotti gets an intentional free pass once again.
He was up 3-1 the count, so.
Well, I was surprised they didn't approach him that way before. Pitch around him a bit, maybe get him to chase, and then you can walk him if you want to. But so apparently Joe Girardi dropped a when they hang it, they bang it in the Yankees game today.
I don't think that's the first time he said that, actually.
Is it? Is it not the first?
I would say he's probably said that a couple times.
My cousin loved it as Jaden Waterman fouls back the first pitch he sees 0-1.
Good Yankee manager. Won us a title. I say us loosely. Sorry,
Well,
I'm not on the team.
That's a lot of people actually draw the line at that when someone starts saying we and us in terms of their favorite sport
I don't
team.
really like saying it either, but I said it out loud. I said that wasn't the way I wanted to word that.
I think my level of investment in my favorite teams with season tickets and all the games
Yeah,
I attend, I think for me to say we makes sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I do have the Yankees now, so can I say we there too? I'll tell you, Nick, that is going to be one of the biggest hits I take this year. Tax write-off.
We'll be at a Yankee game in a couple weeks.
Nobody wants regular season Yankee tickets.
Yeah, unless it's like a big name opponent, I would assume it's not going to sell as much.
The game against Arizona can't sell them for $5.
Yeah.
It is remarkable. You know, I bought the package so that when they make the playoffs, I get one game per round. I want to make sure I get to go. If they're ever in the World Series again, I had to pay face value last year for my cousin to experience his first World Series game. I had experienced 2 already. I did not need another. Technically, I had experienced 4 because I went to 4 Met games.
Was that the game they won?
Yes. I went to 3 Mets games in 2015 and a Phillies game a couple of years ago.
I have still yet to be one. So
I'll tell you, that game 4 that I went to, I think it was 4,
Yeah.
the game they won. Yeah, that game was a cheapie the day of the game.
Yep.
That was like $200 or $300 by the time we got in there.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Paid a bit more than that, unfortunately, as
It
Waterman
happened.
takes ball 1.
It happens.
Orders of magnitude.
Yeah, it happens.
But I had the bar stool seats, which were very nice.
All right.
No all-you-can-eat, though, and that's a prerequisite for me at the baseball games.
Yeah, that one will sting. That one will sting.
Are you coming to WWE Day at Citi Field
What is that?
in July?
Maybe. I do have a busy summer ahead, so
We do.
it's gonna be tough.
The bobblehead will make it a free game if you're not interested
It's
in
a
keeping that.
It's a bobblehead that day.
Mr. Met Yeet bobblehead.
Oh god,
Comes the 2-1 to Waterman,
I can already picture what it looks like.
ball 3. It is exactly what you think.
Yeah.
It
That's
is
what I thought.
exactly what you're thinking
Yep.
is what it is.
Yep, that's what I figured.
And then they have a pregame meet and greet.
Who are they playing?
The Angels.
Oh,
Not a good opponent.
I get Mike Trout, I guess.
Yeah, if he's still healthy.
That's true.
Count 3-1 on Waterman. Runners are going. Throw goes to second.
That's ball 4, Joe. Don't matter.
And they did call it ball 4. I thought on the way in that was likely going to be called a strike, and I think Napolitano Jr. thought the same thing perhaps.
Yeah.
But that was ball 4.
Not only did he think it was a strike, but the catcher as well thought it was a strike as well.
The way that the catcher came up throwing, Thomas behind the plate in this game. He did not play in game 1. That is Thomas Napolitano Jr. So we have Thomas catching Severino in this game. But the way that Thomas came up throwing, he appeared to believe that that pitch would be called a strike.
The designated hitter, number 19, J.J. Hunter.
And I mentioned earlier, Joe, J.J. Hunter has had himself a great week as well as Palomini. 5 RBI game against Bloomfield, had an RBI in game 1. Comes up with the bases loaded and still 1 out in the inning.
And Hunter takes outside. Well, we spoke about how big this doubleheader was for the Dolphins during the pregame ahead of game 1. And the Dolphins hang on to win the first game. If they can take both, that is a huge swing for them in terms of conference record with a chance to claim the series tomorrow. Dolphins have really made things tough on the Knights in both of these games. And after their starter was chased very early in that first game, Peter Nenadich III came on and pitched the last 6 for Queens. That was huge for them, given how that game started. Count now 1-1 on Hunter here. And he hits one hard into left field for a base hit. That will score Palomini. Vigliotti being waved home, and he will score. It's a 2 RBI single for J.J. Hunter, and the Dolphins have an early 2-run lead.
Hunter just continues his monster week, Joe. 2 more RBIs add to his total for the week. A 2-run single there brings home 2 for CSI in this first inning. It gives them an early 2-0 lead.
Dolphins off to a nice start once again. They scored a couple in the first inning of game 1. They scored 4 more in the second. And they needed every one of those runs as the Knights will confer at the mound here. But
And you know what the unfortunate thing for Hunter is, Joe? You know, usually you have those ECC Player of the Weeks. Hunter would definitely get consideration with the RBIs he's had, but with the game Palomino just had in Game 1, it's going to be really tough to pick either one of those Dolphins.
Well, Nick, Hunter is a freshman. He could win Rookie of the Week.
That's true. I would dare to say he's definitely earned it with the week he's had.
We will see how things play out. Still a lot more baseball to be played around the conference this weekend. I will say, admittedly, I do not look at other performances in the conference when I nominate, but I really make a point of not nominating players who will not win. Put them in the prime performer, let them make the honor roll. If they don't have a chance to win, do not give extra work for the conference SID. Because I go through some of the voting for regional awards at the end of the year. I cannot believe some of the nominations that show up in there. Some of them I can't believe, just being honest.
I've been in those war rooms, if you want to call
You've
it that.
You've been in the room with me as
Yeah.
I've gone through them. I think the bare minimum has to be an all-conference award at the end of the year for a player to be nominated. I think that's generally accepted in terms of regional nominations, but there are some I've seen that I've been flabbergasted by, if I'm being completely honest. Count 0-1 here on Vincent Weigel, and he takes down and away. People don't realize all of the little things like the regional voting that go into the job. And if you do it right, that can take you an hour at least, maybe a couple of hours per sport. So you have soccer, you have basketball that do the regional awards, then you have baseball and softball at the end of the year. And all of those are voted on by SIDs in the region, as are the All-Americans. That's SIDs throughout the country. It's 1-2 on Weigel here. And he fouls that one away.
Weigel had himself an RBI hit in Game 1 of this doubleheader.
Another 1-2 coming. Breaking ball just outside. Knights dugout wanted that pitch.
Yeah, it was a good-looking pitch right there from Severino, but just missed on that outside. And now the count evens at 2.
Two. Up and away. Completely random thought, Nick, though it does apply to the pitcher and catcher in this situation. I realized why they went first names for the Napolitano Juniors.
The last name.
When the last name is the same, if it's a long last name, the first initial won't fit. So we have the Acosta sisters. I put A. Acosta and A.L. Acosta. As Weigel takes high for ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Nice at bat right there from Weigel. Works the walk and now loads the bases for Yandel Brito. And early on in this game, Joe, the Dolphins can really open it up with an extra base hit.
Big opportunity here for Brito, who came on at about the midway point of Game 1 after Jake Giovanone went down with an injury. All we know is it had something to do with his hand or wrist. Won't speculate any further than that. And the pitch to Brito is in for a called strike.
And Dolphins certainly hoping that he is okay for the remainder of this season.
We mentioned it. The Dolphins have had some injuries at that position already with Michael Kehoe, and that's it on the ground. Could be a double play. Hit pretty slow. 4, 6, 3. Double play, and the inning is over. Nicely done by the Knights infield as that was hit slowly, but Brito could not beat out the double play. And the Dolphins will settle for 2 in the first. We are through 1 from the CSI Baseball Complex, Staten Island over Queens, 2-0.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Second inning from the CSI baseball complex as Matt Phillips steps in against Alex Martinez. Dolphins once again lead 2-0 after one. An identical score through one inning from game one.
They just did it in a different fashion this time around. But yes, still a 2-0 lead for CSI.
Has to feel good for the Dolphins the way they've swung the bats today after yesterday's game with just the one hit as Phillip lines a single into shallow right center.
Well, Phillip, we saw in game one, Joe, had that big 3-run double that put CSI in pressure. That made it 6-4 at the time. And he gets a leadoff single here in the second and now brings the tying run to the plate.
Well, that ball that he hit to the right center field gap that cleared the bases might have been the most well-struck ball of the game.
That's saying something.
Now, was his double to left center or right center?
Left center.
Left center. We had the ninth inning double to right center. As that's in for a called strike. Michael Velarde at the plate here. First at bat of the game for him. That base hit by Phillip, the first of the game for Queens. Dolphins had just one hit in the first inning. As that's hit really well out to left, but well foul. And perhaps not by that much. Our angle makes it look further foul than it actually was, perhaps. Oh, and 2 the count on the Knights right fielder. That's grounded toward the middle. Played on a hop. Flipped to second for one. On to first for the 4-6-3 double play.
Did they make that one look fancy, Joe? Nice flip towards second base and a good throw to first. And a nice 4-6-3 double play. And just like that, there's now 2 gone in the inning.
Great job there by Rodriguez. Played the hop with the runner right in front of him. Quickly flipped to Cetera, who had plenty of time to get the runner Velarde at first. Quickly 2 away now.
You know how much I love talking about double plays, Joe.
You do love to talk about double plays, almost as much as I talk about the weather. That's chopped foul by Tommy Pasqua, 0-1.
We mentioned it earlier. It's one of the pitcher's best friends. First pitch out is definitely a pitcher's best friend, but that's also a pitcher's best friend as well.
So the first pitch out is the best man, and the double play is the groomsman.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
0-1 the count here on Pasqua. And time was called somewhere, unless Martinez stepped off. Comes the 0-1. Grounder down the line, extra base hit for Pasqua. He takes the turn, heads for second as Waterman lost the ball for a moment in the corner, but Pasqua will hold at second with a double.
Yeah, Waterman was trying to field it in left field, but it just went under the glove, but didn't really make a difference in terms of the runner moving from second to third. It's an easy double to extend this inning. And you go back to that double play, Joe. That's a big one for CSI because that would have been an RBI.
Sure is a big double play. As the Dolphins now will have to contend with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs here in the second. At the plate now, the left-handed hitting Matthew Jackson, and he takes well outside for ball 1.
So Jackson in game 1 as well, Joe. Came in as a defensive substitution. Got in a bat as well later in that game.
Creeping in behind the runner at second was Cetera, as Martinez misses in the dirt to Jackson for ball 2. That pitch in for a called strike, 2-1. Check towards second by Martinez. And the 2-1 misses up and away for ball 3. Comes the 3-1. In for a strike, and Jackson flipped his bat
He'll have to go
all the way to the on-deck circle. Well, that won't buy you a call.
Yeah, he thought that was ball 4, obviously, with that bat flip, if you want to call it, towards the dugout. And now it's a full count.
He sure did think that was ball 4. That is as emphatic a bat flip as I've seen on a potential walk in a while. Once again, Martinez looks towards second.
And he foul tips it into the glove for strike 3.
And Jackson was upset, looking at the home plate umpire with some words after that foul tip into the catcher's mitt, but that will do it for the Knights in the second. Queens strands 1 in scoring position, and the Dolphins maintain a 2-run lead.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Anthony Cetera will lead off for the Dolphins here in the home second. A semi-controversial strikeout ended the last half inning as Matthew Jackson was upset after he thought he had ball 4. Then foul-tipped strike 3 into Yandel Brito's glove. Sotera ahead 1-0 takes high, and it's quickly 2-0.
He was 2 for 3 in Game 1 and still has a very dirty jersey from that first game.
Don't get a chance to swap unless the team changes uniforms, which they have done in the past. We've seen that before. Dolphins have changed uniforms in between games of a doubleheader. They did not today. And
I think they just want to show the effort of what he did in Game 1 with his jersey.
I'll take it.
Maybe they had a jersey planned and they said, you know what? We'll just show how good you did in that first game.
Maybe they only swap if they lose. I've never really paid attention to that. How often do they change jerseys after dropping the first game in a doubleheader versus whether or not they do so after a win?
Obviously, we don't want to see that happen.
We are unbiased.
We are unbiased.
As Sotera lines went into center field for a base hit. And the Dolphins have the leadoff batter on in the second.
Their second hit of this game. And as I mentioned, Sotera was 2 for 3 in Game 1. Gets a leadoff single here in the bottom second. And now bring up Nico Rodriguez.
The second baseman, number 2,
Nico Rodriguez getting the start in both games today. Starts have been few and far between for him entering this last week. He went 1 for 4 in Game 1. Was a part of that nicely turned double play in the last half inning as well. And here he shows bunt. And we've seen him asked to bunt many times before. Definitely a threat to bunt for a hit. Count 1-0 on Rodriguez. Long look in. And the throw to first, we'll see Sotera get that jersey a bit more dirty.
They're trying to find any spot in the jersey that isn't dirty.
He is covered in infield dirt.
There's action also going up in the Queens bullpen. There's strike.
And we've mentioned it before, Nick, but if all goes according to plan, players will not have the ability to have their jersey covered in dirt next season, as we expect the all-new turf field to be completed in time for the start of the 2026 season. Your silence expresses the same level of optimism that I have.
I was just ready for the next pitch. I didn't want to talk mid-pitch.
Well, they'll throw over to first again.
Well, before the throw happened, I was expecting the pitch. No, it is fun and exciting times. We have soccer coming up. We'll be back at the old field that we were usually at. Obviously, a different aspect that we were at this past season. A lot of optimism for baseball with now the turf, as you mentioned, for next season. We'll be covering softball next week for the first time at the softball complex this year.
Runner going. Throw to second off the mark, and Sotera steals the base.
Well, he was already showing bunt in this at bat. Now I can really see it happening again.
Well, Nick, we've seen this before. A runner on second and nobody out. The Dolphins never look to bunt in this spot. And this early, I probably wouldn't. It was late in the game, or I thought perhaps they would. I definitely wouldn't now, and they will not, as Rodriguez takes ball 4. So,
good thing they didn't listen to me.
Effectively, stolen base is negated by the walk, as he would have been on second base anyway. But that sends it back to the top of the order with nobody out. And Chris Palomini, who is in the midst of a historic day at the plate, will come to bat. 2 on, nobody out. And the Knights may have gotten instruction to try and buy some time for the bullpen here, because the infield will gather around Severino Napolitano Jr., and we'll have a conversation about this next batter.
John Keane, that's warming up in the bullpen for the Knights, so we'll see if he does come in at some point. Maybe now, but you mentioned Palomini's historic day. Monster Game 1. Did ground out his first time here in Game 2. But looking to add to his RBI total for the game.
Long conversation here at the rubber, and finally the home plate umpire comes and breaks it up. Palomini 0 for 1 in Game 2. He was 4 for 4 with 3 home runs and a double in Game 1.
The second 5 RBI performance of the week for the Dolphins.
It was J.J. Hunter with a 5 RBI game previously. And Palomini takes up and in.
I'm wondering if he were to go hit a home run again, Joe, what's the most home runs that have been hit in a day considering we had a doubleheader?
That's another good question. I think the first step is Palomini rips one down the line for an extra base hit, and he will add another RBI to his total. Sotera comes in to score. Rodriguez moves up to second, and it's an RBI single for Chris Palomini to put the Dolphins in front, 3-0.
6 RBIs on the day for Palomini, and the first hit today, Joe, where it wasn't an extra base hit for him. This one going via a single. It's now a 3-0 Dolphin lead in this game, and it brings up Jack Kehoe.
Kehoe 0 for 1, and Nick
Miley
going to the bullpen.
Change. Yeah.
So with the pitching change, we will step aside and take a quick break. The Dolphins with another early lead as they go in front of Queens 3-0. Bottom half of the second, 2 Dolphins on, nobody out. And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex as that's punched through the left side for a base hit by Jack Kehoe. In comes Nico Rodriguez to score. And on the first pitch thrown by John Keane, Kehoe delivers an RBI opposite field single to make it 4-0 Dolphins.
Well, Joe, if you saw the defensive alignment on that play for the Knights, they had the third baseman in. They were expecting a bunt for a second. They moved him back into regular alignment as the first pitch was about to be thrown. And Kehoe hit it into that gap between the third baseman and the shortstop for an easy RBI single.
Kehoe definitely capable of bunting for a hit, also a left-handed batter. I would have been stunned if they bunted there. The way that this team has swung the bats today I think you just let your hitters hit. In that situation, anyway. Now A.J. Vigliotti at the plate ahead 1-0, and he looks at a strike. Well, as we saw in Game 1, no lead is safe. If you're the Dolphins, you do everything you can to pile it on as much as you can early. But CSI has put together a great day at the plate, continuing that from Game 1 into Game 2 now as Vigliotti goes ahead in the count 2-1.
This is Keene's 5th appearance of the year. He's pitched 7 in the 3rd innings, allowed 10 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned.
Vigliotti fouls that one back to even up the count at 2. And you have to keep in mind as well, Nick, a 4-run lead in a Game 2 is a much tougher lead to overcome than a 4-run lead in Game 1, as this game is only 7 innings.
Right. So if you're Queens, they really need some outs here. They're now in danger of loading the bases.
We've seen the Dolphins, a team that is very capable of putting together long at-bats, drawing a lot of walks. They drew 6 in Game 1. They drew 9 yesterday. And Vigliotti draws one here.
And we'll give Jaden Waterman an early chance in this game, Joe. With the Dolphins already have 4. He could really open this game up with one big swing.
For Vigliotti, that's his 2nd walk of the game. The Dolphins have already drawn 5. And if you're the Knights, you cannot afford to put Dolphins on via the free pass time and time again. First pitch to Jaden Waterman in for a called strike.
Especially in this spot with now no open bases. Keene's is in a situation where he's going to have to try to figure out a way to get out of this one.
Pitch to Waterman, swung on and missed 0-2. Waterman fights that one off foul. Down the right field line into the corner, and it's caught. But that will bring home a run. It's a sacrifice fly for Jaden Waterman, and the Dolphins now lead it by 5.
That's a good protective out by Waterman right there. And a tough catch out there in right field as well.
I can't believe how far he hit that ball, Nick. I thought he just fought it off and punched it up into the air. But he hit that pretty well into the right field corner, and that ball was dropped. It might have been a fair ball.
Yeah, it was just hovering around that line down the right field line.
J.J. Hunter at the plate now, swings and misses.
You see the infield for Queens. They are heavily in, trying to avoid another run from scoring.
First base empty here. That's an expected move as that's fouled away.
Hunter already has himself an RBI hit in this game.
Dolphins have rebounded very nicely from the game yesterday and showed no signs of letting up. And the 0-2 is smacked into center, and that is down for a hit. 1 run in to score. Here comes Vigliotti, and he will score. It's a 2 RBI single for J.J. Hunter, and the Dolphins have broken this game open. They now lead at 7-0.
Well, Joe, I'm going to repeat myself once again. It's been an unbelievable week for J.J. Hunter this week. He's had another RBI hit. This time, 2 runs come to score. And how about this start for the Dolphins? 7-0 CSI here at the bottom of the 2nd.
Dolphins with as good a start to a game as we've seen this year, and that includes the game against the Delphi.
Even the game in this first game as well.
Dolphins had 6 in the first couple of innings in Game 1. They've surpassed that now with that last 2 RBI hit. And Weigel takes outside 1-1. And they'll check on the runner at first, but Hunter's back in.
Let's get action going up as well in the Queens bullpen.
That's popped up on the infield and caught for out number 2. That will bring up Yandel Brito. Brito is 0 for 1. And they will hold Hunter on first here, as they'll check over there again. That's fouled back into the netting.
Well, the sun is now creeped back in. We saw it at the end of the first game. Starting to get a little bit cloudy. Now the sun is fully back out here for the second game.
And the 0-1 is inside, 1-1. One chopped on the ground, hit slowly to third. Tough play. And coming in to make that throw on the run was Pasqua, as Brito is retired to end the home second inning. But not before the Dolphins score 5 times in yet another big inning for this Dolphins offense. They now lead Queens 7-0 through 2.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Third inning from the CSI Baseball Complex with the Dolphins now leading by 7. Leading things off for the Knights, Thomas Napolitano Jr. He chops one down the third base line, fair ball, and that will roll into the Dolphins bullpen and beyond for an extra base hit. Into second base standing is Napolitano Jr., and the Knights have the leadoff man in scoring position here in the third.
Well, you want to get yourself back into this game, Joe. You're already down 7. Nice job by Napolitano Jr. getting the double down the third base line and leading off this third inning.
We said it. Following what we saw in Game 1, no lead is safe. And obviously these teams not going to give up any at-bats or any opportunity against one another. CUNY rivals, the only 2 Division II CUNY programs. Of course, a conference game, always a big game. As the first pitch to Nick Piazza is chopped to short. And the throw is high and wide. Vigliotti tried to apply the tag but could not. And Piazza reaches on a Dolphins error.
Well, the Dolphins certainly hope that doesn't plague them in this inning, Joe. Another error for the season, and we saw what happened in the ninth inning of that last game where a hit by pitch started that rally for Queens. They get a double to start the inning, and now that error. Let's see if that can start some rally for them here.
Robert Jacobson will be the batter here.
Back to the top of the lineup.
This is the time where we're going to see whether or not shuffling around that batting order paid off, as Jacobson showed bunt and pulled it back. Surely had to be taking all the way, right?
I've already said this week, I'd be very stunned if they did something, and that was to CSI's credit. I'd be stunned if they bunt down 7, especially in a 7-inning game.
I think he was taking a pitch.
Yeah.
And there's a chopper, slowly hit, right side, flipped by Martinez in time. Both runners will advance, and there's one out in the inning.
Well, you could say that's a swinging bunt if you want to call it. Is that?
Yeah.
A little bit of a chopper towards first. And the Dolphins do get the first out of the inning, but he does move both runners into scoring position.
Both Vigliotti and Martinez were initially pursuing that ball. And fortunately, Vigliotti relented and went back to first to cover. Pensieli, the batter now. 2 in scoring position for him. And there's a nice stop by Brito on that breaking ball low and away.
I hate to send the Yankees a video of that play at first base and show them how to properly cover the first base bag with a first baseman in the picture.
I think a lot of the time, you don't always do what you know you're supposed to.
I don't sound too salty, right, Joe?
Well,
apparently that happened again today. That happened in the first
Really?
game of the season, and apparently that instance happened again, and they didn't get the out. They're just having some nightmares from that illuminous Game 5, you want to call it.
1-1 the count here on Sealy. That's in the dirt. 2-1. Martinez comes set. Here's the 2-1. Chopper foul. 2-2 now on the night's designated hitter. And obviously this would be a huge second out for Martinez if he can get it.
Does have first base open, but would love to get that second out, as you mentioned, via a strikeout potentially, if you could do so here.
I think if you're Martinez, you don't want to face Matt Phillip. He is 2 batters away behind Sealy, and that's in the dirt again for ball 3.
Now in danger of loading the bases here with O'Connor on deck.
You have O'Connor behind Sealy, followed by Phillip. Phillip 1 for 1 with a hard hit line drive single his first time. And that's it on the ground to second. That will bring home a run. Rodriguez goes to first with it. And Sealy is retired on the RBI groundout.
So Queens now on the board, 7-1. But it's a productive out, if you want to call that, for the Dolphins. Even though the run does come in, they do get the second out. And for Martinez now is 1 out away from minimizing the damage.
At the plate now is Nick O'Connor. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 1. The 0-1. Swing and a miss.
Got him to lunge in on that one. Nice pitch basically in the dirt from Martinez. And we'll see maybe if we can make him chase again here on 0-2.
Comes the 0-2. Fouled off. The run allowed by Martinez in this half inning is unearned with the error on the ground ball earlier in the inning. The Knights thus far with 3 hits. CSI has scored 7 times on just 5 hits. 0-2 the count. Pitch on its way. In the dirt once again, and Brito has had to block quite a few.
He did a good job on that one. As I mentioned the pitch before, expected Martinez to try to make him chase again, but O'Connor held up. Now we'll do it again on 1-2.
And the 1-2 is outside. Count even at 2 now.
If you're Martinez, you don't want to lose this batter here. You had him in a 2-strike count. Now you even the count at 2.
Comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Martinez strikes out O'Connor, and the inning is over. The Knights do get 1 run back in the third, but they still trail by 6. Our score, Staten Island 7 and Queens 1.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Home third inning from the CSI Baseball Complex, where the Dolphins lead Queens College 7-1. They have gone final in Flushing in Game 2 between the Dolphins and the Knights. Dolphins led that game 2-1 after the first inning. They led 5-1 through 2.5, but a big third inning for Queens put them in front, 7-5. The Dolphins would tie the score at 7 in the fourth, but the Knights would go on to score the last 6. They defeat CSI 13-7 to earn a split of today's doubleheader at Queens. Dolphins 11-13 on the year, now 1-5 in conference play on the softball side. And after winning Game 1, you got the sense that the Dolphins really would have loved to have had Game 2. It's a game that you could argue they needed at just 1-4 in conference play.
Yeah, and we see next week, Joe, obviously, we'll be here calling their games against Dewville. Cetera gets a leadoff single.
So Cetera in part atones for his error with a base hit. He's now 2 for 2. He's had a nice day at the plate.
I mentioned the 2-hit game he had in Game 1. Another 2-hit game in this one.
That will bring up Nico Rodriguez as Queens is going to go to the bullpen here. So looks like that's going to be all for John Keane. And with that, we will step aside and take a break. Our score as we play in the home third inning, Staten Island 7, Queens 1.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And we are back from the CSI baseball complex as the Knights have gone to the bullpen here in the third inning. And the first pitch thrown in relief hits Nico Rodriguez in the helmet. It was a breaking ball, but Rodriguez took it right off the top of the helmet. And very quickly, Andrew Yanez has put the first man he faces on base.
Well, it's a good thing that he's still in the game, Joe. That one looked very, very dangerous. And thankfully for Rodriguez, he stays on first base. And Palomini will come up with another RBI opportunity in this game.
Palomini 1 for 2. And he looks at a strike. It's early, Nick, but if you're Queens, I think you have to find a way to get out of this inning without allowing a run. Easier said than done with the top of the order coming up, but the Knights need to find a way.
Especially in a 7-inning game, you got to find out sooner rather than later.
And Palomini made a bid for his 4th home run of the day on that swing.
Yeah, I think he was just a bit early on that one. That was a very high breaking ball from Yanez.
The 0-2 in the dirt. 1-2 the count on the Dolphins center fielder. Cetera on second, Rodriguez on first.
Now they're checking Yanez at second, or I should say just towards second.
It looks like the umpire has spotted something with the pitcher. It looked like he was checking his hand. Maybe he went to the hat or to the pocket. Not sure. It looked like it was one of those hand inspections.
I was going to say, I don't think we've ever seen an instance like that.
We have not. At least I haven't.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that covering a Dolphins game. I'm trying to think if there have been any outliers, but I don't believe I've covered a baseball game at the collegiate level anywhere outside of CSI. I've covered a game outside of this venue, but that was a Dolphins game as well. As that's hit well, deep to left, but not this time.
Just got under it.
Yep, not by much. And you can see, Nick, the wind was helping him there. The wind is blowing out to left field now as Palomini is retired on the F7.
Yeah, it was another one of those breaking balls from Yanez, and I mentioned it, Joe. He was just under it. He got the pitch, though, he wanted. to have a potential bid for a 4th home run of the day. But he just missed it.
That contact didn't quite have the sound that you'd expect for a home run.
As Keogh hits that one just foul down the first base line.
Kehoe at the plate in this game, 1 for 2. He bats here with 2 on and 1 out. And that was a huge first out to get for Yanez, the most dangerous hitter in the Dolphins lineup right now, with 2 men on, and he was able to find a way. Kehoe has been red hot lately as well, as that's chopped toward the middle. And that's a good play there to apply the tag, throw behind Cetera, and he slides back in safely at third. And with how close in proximity Jacobson was to second base, I don't think he had any play there except to tag the runner.
Yeah, that was the only play he had. And he made a good awareness by him to make that tag, because even if he flipped it towards second, I don't think they get the out. He had only one play, and that was to tag the runner that was going towards second base.
Well done by the Knights' second baseman. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs, and A.J. Vigliotti is the batter. He takes down and away for ball 1.
Politano Jr. has had a lot of work in this game behind the plate.
And the 1-0 pitch just missed. Check on the runner at first, and you have to be careful there as Cetera heads home, and he is out. And I was about to say, Nick, you have to be careful on the pickoff not to let it get away. Allowing the run to score from third, it got away, but not far enough. And Cetera is tagged out at the plate. We're going to have a great look at it. Let's see the replay before we head to break.
In round second.
You let me know what you think, Nick. I think they got it right.
They did.
But let's see how close it was.
And you could even see it, Joe. Vigliotti was telling him not to run, but he was already pretty much halfway down the third base line and got tagged out. So costly out for the Dolphins, and that's big 3 outs right there for Queens. We mentioned it when they were in that spot with first, second, nobody out. They really needed the outs before the inning can end. They get out of the inning without giving up a run.
Good job by Yanez in relief. Knights come to bat, trailing 7-1 when we come back.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Matt Phillip will lead off here in the 4th inning.
I don't know, Joe. I like the other way it's said too.
Joe has gone with Philippe, and he is
He stood his. You know what? I was just saying he stood his ground on it, so gotta give him credit for that.
Without the pronunciation guide, not much we can do there, as that's down and away for ball 1. And Nick, I think I said this during our last game. There were names that I never imagined had to be in the pronunciation guide that needed to be in there.
I know.
I didn't think Leno had to be in there, but we've gotten some Linos, so he's now.
Yeah.
Vigliotti?
How did they say it?
Vigliotti?
Vigliotti.
I did not think that needed to be in the pronunciation guide either.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I listened to it. I'm like, really? And it was dueling pronunciations by the PA announcer and the play-by-play commentator.
Well, I remember I think it was one of the basketball playoff games for the women, and they kept saying Alarcon.
I think technically that could be right.
I guess, but I don't know.
We were told just say Alarcon. So that's fouled off by Phillip, and the count remains 1-2.
Well, I would hope so, because we said it for 4 years.
Well, we were told to say it.
Yeah.
Though I think if you put the correct pronunciation into every syllable, that is not actually correct. I'm not going to try it, but
yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't have a talent for accents. That pitch down and away. So we had the Coast statistician from earlier in the week, Louis Matrone, in the booth for a bit. Just left. He never asked to put on a third headset, though.
He could have. At any point.
Missed opportunity. That's free labor right there.
He won't get that chance ever again. I'm kidding.
What did we ban him from the headset for? He did something.
I know exactly what it is, Joe. Because I don't think it was with me. It was with Andrew Rotundo.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to make a point. At midpoint, Lou cut him off to bring up a stat.
Phillip hits one deep to left. Waterman headed back, looks up, and that ball is out of here. Matt Phillip with a solo home run has brought Queens 1 run closer. It's now 7-2.
That one hit right off of that scoreboard in left field as well, Joe. Phillip with a towering fly ball. I mentioned it in the last broadcast. Leads the team in RBIs, and another one right there with the solo shot.
Well, Nick, I said it during the last inning. You did not want to face him with men on base, and that is exactly why.
It's a very good thing the Dolphins the Queens did not have a runner on. And it's a solo shot for Phillip.
It's now a 5-run ball game, and Michael Velarde will be the batter. Velarde 0 for 1. And Martinez misses up and in. Hit in shallow center. And Cetera makes the basket catch.
Nice over-the-shoulder catch from Cetera right there. A nice bounce back from Martinez to get the first out.
The third baseman, number 2, Tommy Pasqua.
And that will bring up Tommy Pasqua. Pasqua 1 for 1. He takes a big cut for strike 1.
Yeah, very high fastball from Martinez. He blew it right past him.
That was a big, big swing right there. Comes the 0-1. Hit in the air out to right. Kehoe there, and he makes the catch. 2 gone.
So Martinez has gotten 2 fly balls after giving up the home run. Now 1 out away from minimizing this damage to just the run.
That will bring up Matthew Jackson. He struck out with a couple of men on base earlier. He takes up and away, ball 1.
The left fielder, number 8, Matthew Jackson.
Comes the 1-0. Outside, ball 2.
I'll say this, Joe. I can feel it from outside. It's starting to get very hot.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, and I'm feeling it. 2-0 finds the inside corner for a called strike 1.
I had to take off my polo shirt. It was getting that hot.
It is officially polo season. I will not be in a sweatshirt next game.
Well, it depends. Is it going to be that cold on Friday?
I don't know what the weather's supposed to be.
Well, you are somewhat of a meteorologist, you say yourself.
I am something of a meteorologist myself. That's right.
.63 degrees, not bad.
That's popped up.
There goes the hat. Fitzgerald makes the play.
But he's got the ball. Side retired. The Knights go down in order following the Phillips solo home run. And Queens has pulled one run closer. It's now 7-2 Dolphins.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Home fourth inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. The Dolphins lead now 5 runs as A.J. Vigliotti looks at a strike. Now, Nick, you said there was a change in right field. I might have to go help them get it.
Yeah, they pointed out towards right field, it looked like.
Michael Velarde got the start out there. That is definitely not him.
Yeah. Just can't see what the number is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was definitely not 5, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Vigliotti hits one foul.
We don't have the binoculars in here to see what number it could be.
Doesn't want to turn his back to us. And the breaking ball misses high. They got it. It's Leo Alvarez who got the game 1 start.
Okay. Good job by our crew towards the left of us.
That's hit sharply. Diving stop it short. Throw from his knees. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Mike Morrow is going to be arguing about that one. I mean, what an effort. What a play.
A tremendous effort ends in what looked to be an absolutely terrible call. Get the replay, Nick. That looked to be an all-time terrible call.
Yeah, here's the full play, and then we'll get towards the end of it, and we'll slow it down. You see the effort at short, great play. Oh, Joe.
How bad?
That's bad. That's really bad.
That was a really bad call.
He stepped on the bag before the first baseman even caught it. It looked like.
That was one of those calls where, with the naked eye, it was apparent he was safe. And I think the call was made based on the quality of the play at shortstop by Piazza.
Here it is in slow motion.
That is just terrible.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, folks.
Well, we do know about it, and we know the call was wrong. That's always my favorite line, Nick. We do know. We have replay, and we know it was wrong.
I literally have it paused right here. That's where he steps on the bag. The ball is still not caught.
The ball is visible outside the glove?
You could see where he catches the ball.
In real time, it was apparent he was safe, and the call was not correct. It happens, but the Dolphins hope that it doesn't come back to bite them later.
Like we said, great effort. It's short. I mean, tremendous
it was a great
play by
just
Piazza.
to stop it, but Vigliotti was definitely safe.
Yeah.
As that's hit a mile high out to left center. And the catch is made there for out number 2.
I'll look back at it again. Here's another replay. Right there is where he steps on the bag.
You say that like I can see the monitor.
Listen, this is for our viewers at home.
Yeah, it was a bad call, Nick. It was a bad call. You could definitely tell from up here that he was safe. Happens. If you're the Dolphins, you're hoping that it doesn't prove consequential in a 5-run game. If you're the Knights, you'll definitely take it.
Considering they're down to their final 9 outs, they'll certainly take it.
You did all you could to earn that call short of beating the runner with the throw.
Right.
And that's the most important part, unfortunately.
Well, the Dolphins will get a base runner as Hunter's hit by the pitch.
So what looked to be developing as a very quick inning is prolonged just a bit with the hit batter, and Vincent Weigel will come to the plate.
The third baseman, number 9, Vincent Weigel.
And that gets away into the backstop. So Hunter will move into scoring position.
Yeah, it's a wild pitch right there for sure. Napolitano Jr. tried his best behind the plate to snag that one, but there was no chance he was going to be able to.
Weigel now ahead 1-0. Bats for the runner in scoring position. 2 away here in the 4th. He's nearly hit by the pitch.
The same exact pitch it looked like that hit Hunter.
Two and 0 now on the Dolphins' third baseman. And that's it out to center. And waiting there to make the catch was O'Connor to retire the side. Dolphins get a base runner on the 2-out hit batter. Perhaps should have had one more on the call at first base, but nonetheless, the Dolphins strand one in scoring position, and they still lead it 7-2.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Thomas Napolitano Jr. will lead things off for the Knights here in the 5th. And as you referenced in the last half inning, Nick, Queens already down to their final 9 outs. Knights trail by 5. Napolitano Jr. behind 0-1, and Alex Martinez begins his 5th inning of work.
So Michael first get 5 innings for the Dolphins in game 1. Martinez in the shorting game will get 5 innings as well. Look out.
I would not be surprised if the Dolphins, with a comfortable lead, look to push them 7. Can't see any reason why not. The pitch count right now would allow it. Still 6 outs to get before you think about a 7th inning, but Martinez has been solid in this game. Has allowed just 4 hits, couple of runs. One of those earned as he misses in the dirt, 1-2. Good turnout today at the CSI Baseball Complex. Perhaps expected with the weather and the nature of the matchup. 2 local teams in conference. As that swung on and missed for strike 3.
Got him to chase on that outside pitch. Nice job by Martinez. Gets the first out, but yeah, Joe, great turnouts here today for both of these games, and they got treated to a great one in game 1. Game 2, depending on how this game finishes, the Dolphins, the Fanatics, are certainly going to be happy with both of these results.
Nick Piazza, the batter now. 1 out, nobody on. Here in the road 5th.
Well, he will get credit for that good play the last inning, I guess.
In the box score, it counts. That's a put out. There's a called strike. I do not envy umpires at this level for multiple reasons. Obviously, they don't get the benefit of replay. So if something is incorrect, there's no chance to go back and fix it. But also, and this is overlooked a lot of the time, so that's chopped foul, 0-2. The spectators and the dugouts are right on top of you. So every word, every hostile action directed at you, you are right there, and you hear all of it. It's not like the major leagues where you're in a packed stadium and the fans are drowned out.
Except for that one time in Yankee Stadium.
Well, exceptions always exist.
Do you know what instance I'm talking about?
I do not.
I'll make that point in a second. That one's in the dirt for a ball. Aaron Boone last year got ejected from a game because a fan heckled, and the umpire thought it was Boone talking to the umpire.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Can you repeat what he said?
No, I can't.
Okay.
But Boone literally went on a tirade saying that was not me talking at all, and he pointed towards the guy that said it too.
That's grounded down the line. Foul. Now, can you retroactively overturn an ejection?
I don't know.
If you were able to determine
Boone
certainty.
Boone left the game. He was gone. He didn't stay in the game.
He didn't come back with
he did
the
not
fake
come
mustache?
back. Well, no Bobby Valentine there. But I think he got to the point where he was so aggravated because he threw him out to begin with when he shouldn't have, that he made the argument afterwards and say, all right, well, I might as well get my money's worth since you made an absolutely terrible call.
That's a good point from Mr. Boone as that swung on and missed for strike 3. And Piazza goes down swinging.
Aaron Boone certainly had his fair share of rejections these past couple years.
I think if you get ejected as a spectator and a fan watching the game, you want to see the manager get his money's worth. It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Is it good for the game? Well, maybe not.
It fires your team up in a sense.
Could. I found out the other day that for the playoffs, they're going to automated balls and strikes.
Are they?
The playoffs, yeah. Not fully, but I think they can go back and overturn.
Yeah, they did that for spring training for a little bit.
Okay.
A lot of people liked it, so.
I think you have to do it full time and let the umpire verbally pass the call along. I think that's how you do it. As that's hit out to left, and that will fall for a bloop single. Heading to second is Robert Jacobson, and he slides in safely with a double.
Making a bloop double on that play for Jacobson.
Good point.
That will extend the inning.
Off the bat, It looked apparent that was going to fall, but that ball just came to complete rest in shallow left field once it hit the grass, and Jacobson hustling all the way picks up the double.
Number 17, Penn Seeley.
That would bring up Penn Seeley.
Queens trailing by 5, trying to get back into this game. Down to their final 7 outs. Let's see if Seeley can get a run here.
Every opportunity with a man in scoring position critical from this point forward.
They want to check at first base to make sure that the runner touched base as he went to second.
Two away. Road 5th inning in a 5-run game. Queens looking to slowly crawl their way back in as Seeley takes up high. Dolphins with just a 1-hit advantage in this game, 6-5. But they lead it by 5 runs. That just goes to show you, Nick, walks are a killer. That's in the dirt, 2-0.
We saw what that did for the Dolphins against Malloy last week. They worked so many walks, and they eventually walked it off on a walk in that game.
Very unusual end to that game. Bases loaded, walk-off walk in extras. Comes to 2-0 in the dirt, ball 3.
Well, here's a good sight to see, Joe. I see Jake Giovanone in the Dolphin bullpen for whoever's about to warm up. He's got the pads on.
Well, I think it was it the offhand or was it the glove hand?
It was the offhand.
It was the throwing hand, which
Throwing,
would be
yeah.
throwing hand, not the offhand. Basically the glove offhand.
Right.
As that's in for a strike, 3-1.
Yeah, it was his glove hand that he hurt.
Check towards second. Here comes the 3-1.
That
Crushed foul.
drilled.
Wow. Talk about a squared up ball.
Yeah.
Three and 2 now, the count on Seeley. Knights looking for a big 2-out hit to make this a 4-run game. And that's hit the other way for a base hit, and that will get the run home. The throw goes to second, wisely so, and it's an RBI single for Penn Seeley. It's now 7-3 Dolphins.
Well, if you saw the defensive alignment, the Dolphins are playing closer towards the bag, especially at second base for Rodriguez. And Seeley went the opposite way on that one to get the RBI hit and make this a little bit more interesting now. 7-3 here in the 5th with still 2 outs. We'll see if the Knights can extend this inning once again.
Dolphins scored 2 in the first, 5 in the second, and the Knights have scored 1 in each of the last 3 innings. And you're in that position again, Nick, where you would really like to get this out and not face Phillip with 2 men on base.
I'm looking towards the bullpen. It looks like I see a 4. Is that
Aiden Keelty's throwing
Keelty
again, Nick.
yeah.
That's popped up. This should end the inning. Satera there, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So the Knights will settle for 1 in the 5th. They strand 1 runner on and have pulled to within 4. Our score, Staten Island 7, Queens 3.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Yandel Brito, the batter, to lead off here in the home fifth. Dolphin lead cut to 4. Both teams now with 6 hits. The Dolphins 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error. And the Knights, or I should say the Knights 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. The Dolphins 7 runs, 6 hits, 1 error.
Same amount of hits and errors, but difference on the score. The Dolphins up 4.
Walks Nick as Brito hits one into the glove of the leaping shortstop. And Piazza's there again, Nick.
Yeah. He's been very active in this game defensively.
He's had a really nice day with the glove.
And you mentioned that last half inning as well, Joe. We saw Aiden Kilty warming up, and he obviously had to leave that first game due to a cut on, I am going to assume, his hand, maybe a finger.
Yeah, hand or finger.
But it looks like he might come in relief in the next half inning.
That's fouled back by Anthony Cetera, who's 2 for 2 in this game. I mentioned the walks, Nick. The Dolphins had 5 walks very, very early in the first 2 innings. The Knights have not drawn a walk in this game. And effectively, that's the difference right now. I pitch in for a called strike. 0-2. The 0-2. Hit hard on the ground, and Piazza couldn't handle that one, as that's going to be a base hit for Cetera.
Cetera continues his big day in these 2 games. His 3rd hit in this one, his 5th hit total in this doubleheader.
Tough chance there for Piazza, who's been as short-handed as it gets all day, but he couldn't make that play. Short hop, hard hit ball, and the Dolphins have a 1-out base runner for Nico Rodriguez.
This will check the runner. Cetera's back in safely.
Rodriguez at the plate in this game without an official at bat. Cetera's now 3 for 3. The Knights committed to keeping Cetera close over at first, as Rodriguez hits one pretty well out to right, but he got under it. And the catch is made in right field by Alvarez for out number 2.
I'll bring up Palomini now with 2 gone in the inning.
Palomini 1 for 3 in this game. Had the huge game 1.
Does have an RBI here in game 2.
Gets a chance here with a runner on and 2 outs, and now with 2 outs, I think Cetera even more of a threat to run, though he was caught stealing earlier.
And if you remember for Palomini as well, that last at bat was just under a breaking ball for a potential bid at a 4th home run today.
Palomini, a big doubles threat. I say let him hit with a man on base. So that's fouled off.
Thankfully, that was just the bleachers, that sound.
All I have to say is heed the warnings.
Yeah, Queens played a dangerous game by parking their
Those 2 vans have nearly been struck 2 or 3 times.
I think
already.
there's a third one too that's parked on the inner side towards the bleachers.
And that gets away to the backstop. So Cetera will move into scoring position now, as Palomini has a 1-2 count with 2 away here in the 5th.
Now there's double action going up in the Dolphin bullpen. Trying to see what that second number is.
That's Salmonese again.
Yep. We saw him warming up at the end of game 1.
Comes the 1-2. Way outside. Two and 2 now on Palomini. 2 outs in the inning. And a runner on second. That's in the dirt. 3-2. With first base open, Nick, I think they're pitching him a bit more carefully now.
I think you have to with the way he's been swinging today.
Yeah. 3-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Palomini goes down on strikes, and the Dolphins strand Cetera in scoring position at second. We head to the 6th. The Dolphins lead the Knights 7-3. Sixth inning from the College of Staten Island. 4-run ball game. Dolphins lead the Knights 7-3. And immediately Matt Phillip jumps on the first pitch, and he has another gapper into left center, but he will be forced to stop at first.
Yeah, it looked like initially he was going to have an easy double, and a good play by Palomini to cut that one off and throw it in. But what about Phillip in these 2 games, Joe? He's been sensational for the Knights. I was going to mention before that first pitch, that home run he had his last time up.
Well, they almost announced the wrong batter. Joe backing up a bit and now saying nothing.
I didn't even hear him say it.
He started to announce Michael Velarde in and then
but he came out of the game, yes.
stopped.
Yes.
He's been out of the game for a while now as Alvarez takes low. This is, I believe, the second at-bat for Alvarez, isn't it? Is it the first? It is.
It is his first?
Unless he walked. He did not, because the Knights don't have a walk.
Right.
First at-bat. That's it for a strike. 1-1.
Still a lot of life left in this game for Queens. 4-run deficit, still 6 out to play with.
1-1. Hit on the ground through the right side for a base hit. Phillip moves up to second, and Alvarez is on with a single. The Knights now have the tying run in the on-deck circle, and Tommy Pasqua coming to the plate.
And I'm wondering, Joe, and Pasqua is going to have, was going to have a discussion with his third base coach, but I mean, I'd be stunned if they, I guess you could bunt in this spot to move both runners into scoring position.
Nick,
yeah.
You can't bunt down to your last 6 outs down by 4.
No,
please.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
I know you agree, but if they were...
I think that's why Pasqua was going down the third base line to discuss it.
The corners are in. The Dolphins are expecting that he might bunt. I would be dumbfounded, and there's a base hit at the center. Phillip will be held at third, and it gets through Palomini and rolls deep into center field. That will cost the Dolphins 2 runs and 2 more bases as Pasqua slides into third base safely. It's now a 7-5 ball game.
Yeah, it's going to lead to a pitching change, Joe. Just a tough spot right there. They kind of teed up on Martinez to start this inning. I was going to mention after that second straight hit how much longer of a leash he's got in this game. That's the last straw for him in this one, and now we'll see if the Dolphin bullpen can hold on to the 2-run lead.
I think Palomini was anticipating a potential play at the plate, and you have to know the runner there. Phillip was not going to go home under any circumstances in a 4-run game. He overran the ball trying to get ready to throw it, and the Dolphins will turn to Aiden Keelty with nobody out and a runner on third here in the 6th. Call to the bullpen for CSI, and we head to break. Our score, Staten Island 7, Queens 5.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Aiden Keelty to the mound for the Dolphins here in the 6th inning. As the Knights will send a pinch hitter to the plate. Oscar Guzman will be the batter. And he comes up with a runner on third, nobody out. He represents the tying run in a 7-5 ball game. And he takes inside there.
I mean, think about the complexion of this game, Joe. We mentioned it earlier on, especially the way the game 1 went. Game 1, Dolphins had a 6-run lead. It was cut to 2 at 6-4. The Dolphins with a 7-run lead in this game. It's now been cut to 2 once again.
And that's off the glove of Brito, and wisely holding at third is the runner Pasqua, and he needs to hold there. Obviously, with nobody out, you can't take that chance, and I think he was wise to hold up.
Meanwhile, for Keelty, we mentioned, Joe, in Game 1, he had that cut or whatever on his finger or hand, and he's missed with 3 straight in relief so far in this one, in danger of walking the batter.
Dolphins are in a tough spot. You would have to expect they used more pitching than they wanted in Game 1 with how quickly Keelty had to exit. You got exactly what you wanted out of Kehoe. He finished the game. Thought perhaps they might save him with the multiple run lead, but it turned out they needed him. 3-1 now. And that's high for ball 4. And the tying run is now on base. Still nobody out.
And it'll bring the go-ahead runner to the plate, Thomas Napolitano Jr.
Napolitano Jr. in this game, 1 for 2. And an extra base hit here could tie the game.
There's going to be a pinch runner as well, Joe, at first base.
So Guzman came in to pinch hit, drew a walk. He will come out for a pinch runner. And Evan Palladino emerges from the Knights' dugout. He's going to have a word with his third base coach. You would presume that's manager Chris Reardon. Many times it is, not always. And you can hear the players getting fired up down in the field. The question is that coming from the left dugout or the right?
The right.
Okay. I said it earlier when this game was in the early stages, Nick. It was 7-0. I said, obviously, no lead is safe if you're the Dolphins. Continue to pile on if you can. They have been held scoreless in the last 3 innings. And now the Knights with a big opportunity here to get this game tied.
Expect the runner as well for first base. Try to go towards second.
I don't know if you take that chance, Nick. That's the tying run. As that's in for a called strike 1.
Depends on how you feel about a potential, if you want to risk it with a double play. What get you a run?
If I'm the Knights, I'm staying right where I am. Because if you get thrown out at second here, that's the tying run. And that's hit well out to center. Palomini is there. And the catch is made. That will bring home the 6th Knights run. And it's now a 1-run game. Staten Island 7 and Queens 6 following the sacrifice fly by Thomas Napolitano Jr.
Well, the Dolphins at least get the first out of this inning. And now they can get a double play ball to end the inning right here. But a huge chance for Nick Piazza. And right after him, it's back to the top of the lineup.
Well, if you're Keelty, you would love to get this out. Then you only need one more from the top of the order. If you don't get this one, you have the most dangerous hitters on this Queens roster coming to the plate. And they'll check on the runner at first.
Piazza had an RBI hit in Game 1. He was 0 for 2 today in Game 2.
Now I think you have to watch out for the stolen base. With 1 out in the inning, a little less room for error in terms of moving that runner along now, still on first. I think if you were going to see them run, now would be the time. And Piazza lays down a bunt. Tough play, Weigel, and he wisely holds the ball. Throw behind the runner at second, not in time. And it's a bunt single for Nick Piazza. The go-ahead run is now on base. The tying run moves into scoring position. And coming to the plate here will be Robert Jacobson.
Probably one of the more well-executed bunts we've seen, Joe, in our time calling CSI games. That one just caught the Dolphins off guard. I don't think anyone was expecting a bunt in that spot. And now, as you mentioned, tying run in scoring position, go-ahead run at first base, and a big chance for Jacobson to do some damage.
Jacobson 1 for 3 at the plate in this game. Dolphin lead down to a run. And Jacobson takes a strike. Keelty looking to work quickly. He's gotten on the rubber very early. The 0-1. Hit in the air. No infield fly called. It's just beyond the infield and caught. And they did call it, Nick. They did call an infield fly on that after.
Lengthy delay.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see the finger go up into the sky until after the ball had been caught. No chance you let that one fall, but Dolphins now 1 out away from keeping this a 1-run game.
It's going to be up to Penn Seeley, who got an RBI hit his last time up.
Huge spot here for Seeley. He takes ball 1. You have the lefty on deck in Nick O'Connor. He's 0 for 3. Seeley 1 for 3. You mentioned the RBI hit. And then behind O'Connor is Matt Phillip. He got this inning started. That's popped up, foul ground, and into the seats.
The Dolphins need to make sure with that when they face Phillip that he has nobody on base.
One and one the count. There's a called strike. Keelty 1 strike away. 2 runners on, 2 outs for the Knights. They trail by a run. Queens now out hitting CSI 10-7. Comes the 1-2. Fouled off.
Nowhere close to anything, right?
Didn't see where it landed.
Good. Not that I'm parked in that row, obviously.
Smart man.
So I arrived to the stadium early.
It's 1-2. That's in the dirt. 2-2.
Try to get him to chase on that breaking ball on the outside. Seeley was not going to budge. And now it's 2-2 with 2 gone in the inning.
Well, you have to be careful on those waste pitches. You put one to the backstop, and all of a sudden the go-ahead run's in scoring position. Won't matter on 3-2 if we get there. Comes the 2-2. Down and in, ball 3.
And now here's a dangerous spot, Joe, because now the runners are going to get a head start on this next upcoming pitch. So if Seeley is able to get it into the gap, he's going to bring home both of those runs.
This is a huge pitch for Aiden Keelty and the Dolphins. 3-2 the count on Seeley. 2 runners on, 2 outs here in the 6th. Payoff pitch. Grounded to third. Weigel has to throw the long way to first in time. And the Dolphins escape the 6th inning with the lead. Queens strands 2 on base, and our score through 6. Or 5.5 anyway. Staten Island 7, Queens 6.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Jack Keogh will lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2, 3, and 4 for the Dolphins, as now it is a 1-run lead for CSI here in the home 6th. Jack Keogh will lead it off. Dolphins looking for some insurance runs as they try to get the sweep of this doubleheader today against Queens. That first pitch in there for a strike. The count goes to 0-1.
All right, I am back from my trip to the stats desk. We are separated by a wall, you know.
That is true. A wall and a door.
At times last year, we did have the statistician next to us.
We did.
I do have to say, we are pretty entertaining.
We always are.
You know, Lewis would petition to be in here.
Oh, of course. Like you mentioned earlier, I'm shocked he didn't petition to put a headset on.
True. He was too busy talking MLB The Show with our pitch clock operator.
That's true. That's true.
Lou loves to share his clips yesterday. He sent us a home run in the group chat.
I did see that.
Show off. There's a swing and a miss by Jack Kehoe, who goes down on strikes.
He chased that high fastball. Big strikeout right there for Kozerski, the new pitcher.
Nick Kozerski in, the senior right-hander from Hicksville, New York.
And Joe, I mentioned it, the Dolphins really needing some insurance runs in this home 6, but already one gone in the inning.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, you had the right part of the order up to do it. Obviously, you would have loved to have Palomini lead off, but he did bat with runners on in the previous inning. They get 2, 3, and 4. Kehoe obviously just went down on strikes, and then Vigliotti and Waterman follow. Want to know the count on Vigliotti, and he looks at a called strike. Vigliotti, with just one official plate appearance in this game, has walked twice. 0 for 1 at the plate and takes outside.
We'll also have to see, Joe, who pitches in that next half inning for the Dolphins. We saw Anthony Salmonese warming up. I would think he might pitch the 7th.
Looking toward the bullpen. Is that Ryan Kehoe with a glove on?
I can't tell, but I could. But
I know Ryan has the long hair. I doubt he'd pitch again today, so that's probably Salmonese, who was throwing before. But I don't know if they both have the long hair like that. Vigliotti draws another walk, his third, and the Dolphins have a one-out base runner.
Bring up Waterman now. CSI, as I mentioned, try and get those insurance runs. And if it is Salmonese to pitch the 7th, at least give him a little bit more of a cushion.
Waterman at the plate in this game, 0 for 1. He's drawn a walk and driven in a run with a sac fly as that's hit out toward left center field. Hit pretty well. Long run into the gap, and unable to get there was the center fielder. O'Connor gave it a good run, but did not get there in time. He cut it off early enough to hold Vigliotti at third, but Waterman is into second base standing with a one-out double, and now the Dolphins have 2 big insurance runs standing in scoring position.
Yeah, he made a bid for a home run ball right there with that hit into left center field. And now a chance here for CSI, as you mentioned. And to think about the hitter that they have coming up to the plate, J.J. Hunter, who we've talked about a couple times today. He's had a great week, the freshman for this Dolphins team. A couple RBIs already in this game. Has a chance for some more. Infield moves in. As that first pitch from Kozerski's out on the outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. First base is open in this spot as well. So if Kozerski was to walk Hunter here, it would load the bases for Vincent Weigel, who was on deck. Huge spot for both of these teams. Half swing in there for a strike, the count even at 1. Waterman's hit gave the Dolphins their 8th hit of this game. Hunter at least looking to get the ball into the outfield and get them at least 1 run in this spot. And Hunter will hit that one into left center. That should be deep enough to bring home the run. The catch is made out of left field. Vigliotti tags as well as Waterman, and they both will reach base safely. It's a huge sacrifice fly for J.J. Hunter, and the Dolphins now increase their lead to 2. It's now 8-6. A much-needed RBI right there for CSI. Now gives whoever the pitcher will be in the top of the 7th a 2-run lead. And gives now Vincent Weigel a chance with 2 gone. With now Waterman at third. A base hit here could give the Dolphins a 3-run lead. And a breaking ball from Kozerski's in there for a strike. The count goes to 0-1. Kozerski trying to at least give up the 1. Give his team a chance in the top of the 7th. Now trailing by 2 once again. Weigel hits that one foul behind the plate, and the count goes to 0-2.
Huge insurance run for the Dolphins, Nick, as they get one home on that sacrifice fly. They get bat there for Hunter and a chance for more here with Jaden Waterman at third. Count on Weigel 0-2 as I had to deal with a scoring issue, and that is still not fixed as Weigel takes high.
Dolphins would love a base hit right here. 3-run lead, potentially even more if they can get a 2-out rally. But they were able to get a 3-run lead going into that 7th.
Comes the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Weigel goes down on strikes, and the Dolphins will settle for 1 in the home 6th inning. Huge insurance run for the Dolphins, puts them up by 2. The Knights come to bat in the 7th, down to their final 3 outs, trailing 8-6.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Nick O'Connor will lead off for the Knights here in the 7th. Keep in mind, this game 2 of a doubleheader going just 7 innings. If you're just joining us, shame on you. It's been a great day of baseball.
Yeah, we've been treated to 2 great games between these 2 teams.
I don't think we've covered a doubleheader this tightly competitive, perhaps in the entire Division II era, Nick.
Yeah.
2 games back-to-back within a run or 2. I can't recall a doubleheader like this one. As that's hit out toward right center, falling fast, but Palomini will get there. And there's one gone here in the road 7th.
And we had speculated, Joe, if the Dolphins would make a pitching change or keep Aiden Kilty out there. Kilty does get the mound here in the 7th, gets the first out, and is 2 outs away from giving the Dolphins this victory. But as we saw in the last game, that's how the Dolphins started the 9th inning. They got the first out, and then Queens went on a little bit of a rally with 1 out. So for Kilty, let's make sure if he can get those 2 outs, but a tough at-bat coming up here.
Salmonese ready to go in the Dolphins bullpen. He's just tossing the ball up into the air and waiting to see if he gets the call. And obviously, Nick, I don't think you can overstate how big of an out that was with Matt Phillip at the plate here. He bats with the bases empty, 1 out here in the 7th. And that insurance run ensures that he can't tie the game with 1 swing as he's behind 0-2 now.
And he was making a bid for a home run right there with that last swing. Maybe got a piece of it, but is now down the count 0-2.
Comes the 0-2. Hitting the air out to center. Another chance for Palomini. And he's got it. 2 gone in the 7th.
Nice start to the inning for Kilty there, Joe. 2 fly balls out into right center field. And the Dolphins now 1 out away from sweeping this doubleheader, which would be very big for them early in this season.
After the way the game played out yesterday, this would be about as good of a result as you could hope for if you're the Dolphins. Obviously, you would have liked Game 1 to be a little less close, but to come away with 2 wins and give yourself a chance to get back to the 500 mark in conference play tomorrow, a huge boost for this team that was off to a slow start in conference play. That pitch down and in to Alvarez for ball 1.
And any time you have a 4-game series as a team, no matter what level you're at, you at least hope that you can get 2 out of those games so you can at least split the series. But if they can hold on to this game, they'll have a chance to win 3 out of 4 tomorrow.
That pitch in for a called strike. It's now 1-1 on Alvarez. He's 1 for 1, came on as defensive replacement earlier in the game. That's foul back.
Dolphins now 1 strike away. Baseball complex, very vocal for both of these teams.
Knights down to their final strike. Dolphins looking for a doubleheader sweep of Queens. The 1-2. High, 2-2. Two and two now, the count on Alvarez as Kilty comes set. The pitch on its way. Line the other way into right field for a base hit. And the Knights will bring the tying run to the plate with 2 outs here in the 7th.
Opposite field hitting right there from Alvarez, Joe. Got it just over the glove of Vigliotti at first. Now Tommy Pasqua with a monster opportunity comes up as the tying run with still just 2 outs in this inning.
Pasqua already 2 for 3 in this game. Kilty's pitch on its way. Down and in, ball 1. Alvarez not being held on at first. No surprise there. He has a huge lead, and there he goes. Dolphins will pay him no attention. 2-0.
So a base hit now for Pasquale can bring home that runner from second. So they try to get a 2-out rally and keep extending this game.
That fastball's in for a strike, 2-1.
As you mentioned, Salmi's still up in the bullpen, there if necessary.
He really hasn't thrown much for a long time now.
He's pretty much the break glass of emergency spot at this point for the CSI.
Breaking ball in the dirt. 3-1.
Do you think about bringing him in if he walks him this bat?
I think you think about it. Would I do it? Ask me after this at-bat's over. That's called strike, 3-2. Huge pitch coming up here.
Once again, the Dolphins strike away from getting the victory.
Queens once again down to their final strike. Tying run at the plate with 2 outs in the 7th. Keelty's pitch. Swung on and missed on the high fastball. Strike 3. And the Dolphins have swept Queens College in games 2 and 3 of this East Coast Conference Series.
Kind of what we saw in Game 1, Joe. A strikeout to end the game, and that one was just thrown with some gas by Keelty. High fastball, got him to chase on that one. And how about a big sigh of relief from the Dolphins in this, and as well as Game 1. 2 close victories, and an 11-10 Game 1 victory. Now an 8-6 Game 2 victory. The Dolphins sweep the doubleheader. At least we'll get 2 games from Queens this weekend, and we'll have a chance to take 3 out of 4 tomorrow in Flushing.
Big game tomorrow at Queens. Dolphins and Knights back at it on Sunday. As for us here on CSI Sportsnet, I believe we are back on the air on Friday for our next game. That will be played against Mercy University, Friday, April 4th. The Dolphins and the Mavericks first pitch scheduled for 3:30 p.m. Till then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Bavona on the call. We thank everyone who has chosen to spend their Saturday with us here on CSI Sportsnet. Once again, our final score in Game 2, the Dolphins 8 and the Knights 6. The Dolphins have now taken 2 of 3 from Queens to open up this 4-game set. Game 4 tomorrow, right back here on the ECC Network.